Hello and welcome to Elecspo, and it is time to talk about the January transfer window. For the clubs who are failing and need to add some reinforcements, they are going to get the chance in the month of January. The transfer window swings open, meaning players can once again move clubs, teams can once again sign players, and Newcastle can finally spend some of that Saudi cash. But how is the January transfer window going to go in the Premier League? Well, we're going to let Football Manager 2022 predict the whole thing. Let's dive into the simulation and see what FM22 thinks is going to happen in the January transfer window. Right, we're going to look at every club alphabetically. Here we are on the 1st of February 2022. The January transfer window is closed and we are starting with Arsenal, and they have made 4 signings. 4 OK signings, the biggest of which is Jesse Lingard. Jesse Lingard on deadline day. In fact, 3 of the signings came on deadline day. Arsenal can say they're sitting 4th in the Premier League, going quite well, and they spent £6.25 million on Jesse Lingard from Man United. He's took a wage drop down to £62,000 a week. I mean, Christ, if he can do as well at Arsenal as he did at West Ham, he's going to be a brilliant signing at £6.25 million. They've got Daniel Maldini, an Italian attacking midfielder playing in a similar position to Jesse Lingard, but he's been loaned out already, gone to Sheffield United temporarily. They've also got Daniel Amati on loan and Mark Rocker from Bayern Munich. I mean, why have they got Daniel Amati? That's not really that exciting a signing. And they've already secured his permanent transfer. He's going to be joining permanently at the end of the season when his contract expires, but he's arrived early on loan. And goodness knows why. He was doing quite well for Leicester in the Premier League in this simulation, but still, I mean, this is Arsenal Football Club. They've also got Mark Rocker, a Spanish defensive midfielder who hasn't really had much of an impact at Bayern Munich, let's be honest. Outgoings, nothing really to shout about. We're just going to focus on the incomings for now, because some of the outgoings are actually impacting other Premier League teams. But let's move on to Aston Villa. Aston Villa with Steven Gerrard in charge, they have made 3 signings. Jack Stacey from Bournemouth, Brenner from Cincinnati, the striker, arriving for £9.25 million. Has he made his debut? He has. He's made his debut and he got himself an assist wearing the number 9 shirt, and he's also joined there by Alan, the defensive midfielder who isn't the one currently at Everton. Arrived from Atletico Mineiro, previously at Liverpool, never made a Premier League appearance for the Reds, but he's back in the Premier League now, this time for £7 million with Aston Villa. Made his debut, came off the bench, played so little, didn't get a rating. But Villa spending about just over 20 million quid in the January transfer window. Those first few signings made by Steven Gerrard could be quite astute, especially Brenner there. That's quite an exciting one. Moving on to Brentford, and at this point in the simulation they are the Premier League's bottom club, and a club who've made some strange signings. They got Jack Stevens from Southampton. I mean, quite an average centre back. Then they got 2 players from Real Valladolid, Sean Weissman and Jahoud El Yamik. El Yamik, a Moroccan centre back. Christ, Brentford needs centre backs based on this. Sean Weissman, where does he play? And his really striker, who cost 1.6 million quid. He was doing well in the second tier of Spanish football, 11 goals, but I mean, that's the second tier. In the Austrian Premier League previously, 30 goals in 31 games. But I don't think he's going to be the man to keep Brentford in the Premier League. About 10 million quid spent at Brentford. Not sure if it's been spent very well. But on we go to Brighton. And Brighton have been quite quiet. But they've brought in Callum Chambers for 1.9 million quid from Arsenal. But the big signing, Rafinha from Paris Saint-Germain, Thiago Alcantara's brother, arriving to the Amex Stadium for 4 million, potentially rising to 4.8 million pounds. Wearing the number 22, he's pleased to have joined Brighton, wants to win a trophy, thinks they've got a good chance in the FA Cup. Quite a good signing by Brentford. I mean, Christ, he's got the same genes as Thiago. Rafinha, a great passer of the ball, obviously not quite as good as Thiago, but still, he's still pretty good. Still came through the Barca Academy and all that, and could be an exciting signing there for Brighton. He suits Graham Potter's style of play. Could be an astute little bit of business there by the old Seagulls. On to Burnley now, and this isn't a very Burnley transfer window at all. They've signed Iago Falque on a free. They've got Dani Alves on a free at the age of 38. I mean, this obviously hasn't factored in the fact he joined Barcelona. I mean, Christ, Dani Alves at bloody Burnley. Just no, that does not sit right with me at all. Arriving on a free at 38 years old, and he's also joined there by Josh Onomah from Fulham and Pontus Jansson from Brentford, which kind of explains why Brentford have signed a couple of centre-backs. They've lost their captain Pontus Jansson, his contract expiring in the summer, so they've cashed in for not a lot of money, and he has gone to Burnley. Could be a good player for Burnley. Pontus Jansson, he's meeting two veg centre-half, heads it away, clears it, kicks the players, a bit like Tarkowski and Ben Mee. Good signing by Sean Dyche. On to Chelsea, and they haven't done a thing in January. In the summer, obviously, they signed Lukaku and Saul. Romelu Lukaku hasn't gone too well so far. Saul's been an absolute disaster. But Chelsea, they're sitting third in the Premier League. They haven't made a single January Premier League signing. And to be honest, I don't think they will make a signing in January. They've already got probably the best squad in the Premier League, or one of the best squads. I mean, depends where you compare theirs to Man City's squad. But Chelsea make no changes in January. Crystal Palace had a good summer transfer window, getting the likes of Edouard, Conor Gallagher, Jakob Anderson. And in January, they haven't done any business really. They got Malachi Fagan Walcott from Tottenham for 230 grand on the 13th of January, a 19-year-old centre-back who's already on the loan list, and he hopes to learn a lot at Crystal Palace. But I mean, not really. He's one for the future, isn't he? And whether he actually does feature in the future remains to be seen. But Crystal Palace, they're sitting in 16th in the Premier League, so they're quite precariously placed. Maybe they should have brought some more bodies in, but they're going with what they've got, and they've made just one signing in January. Everton are a club that desperately need January signings, and they've made a fair few, to be honest with you, but I'm not really convinced by any of them. The most expensive, Cedric Suarez from Arsenal. I mean, just an average right back, 10 million quid, man. They've got Dudu from Palmeiras, another £10.5 million signing, and a man who's made 2 appearances so far. He can play on either wing, and he hasn't done very well. A bit of a strange signing there made by Rafa Benitez, but things are going well for them in this simulation. They're actually sitting 5th in the Premier League, so Rafa's clearly not that moved by the January transfer window. They've got Omar Richards from Bayern Munich, Jack Jenkins from Leeds, and El Wahi from Montpellier, and Samuel Shashua from Tenerife, an American attacking midfielder who got a good debut. Well done him. What a strange transfer window by Everton. On to Leeds, they've made one signing, Luis Romo from Cruz Azul, 4 million quid. Mexican centre-back, 20 times for his country he's played. Leeds sitting 15th in the Premier League. And Luis Romo has actually had a great start of life at the back for Leeds. 7.25 after his first 2 games. I mean, obviously it's only 2 games, but decent in the Mexican League. And a 4 million quid could be an astute little signing by Marcelo Bielsa. But I'll be honest with you, I don't know a thing about him, so he might be absolutely naff. Leicester have signed a FIFA legend in January, getting Ezekiel Barkle from Atlanta United. Barkle used to be the boy, the absolute boy on Football Manager. Was he good on FM as well as FIFA? I can't really remember. But he's arrived for 7.25 million quid from Atlanta United, where he was doing well in the MLS. His debut didn't go too well at the King Power, but maybe things will improve, and we'll check up on him at the end of the season. On to Liverpool, and the big surprise of this video so far, Riyad Mahrez going from Manchester City to Liverpool. Liverpool sitting 2nd in the Premier League, Man City there down in 6th actually, which is a big surprise. But Liverpool have brought in Riyad Mahrez for 18.5 million quid, rising to 22 million, 105 grand a week, wearing the Liverpool number 16. I mean, that's a lot of money that Man City spent on Mahrez, and he's gone for not even a third of the price. That's a mad signing. There's no chance that transfer is going to happen in January, I'll tell you that for now. Man City, what kind of business have they done since they've got rid of Riyad Mahrez? Well, they've made a few big signings of their own. Serge Gnabry, Arthur Cabral and Leandro Paredes. Big money spent by Manchester City. Serge Gnabry is a huge signing, which explains why they've been willing to get rid of Riyad Mahrez. 3 appearances so far, doing alright in a Man City shirt. Arthur Cabral, they've finally got that striker that they need at Manchester City. He hasn't made his debut yet, but he costs 15 million quid, and he should be able to chip in with a few goals. He's an exciting player, Arthur Cabral, one to watch in the January transfer window. And they've also got Leandro Paredes, a man who's just a shithouse in the midfield for Paris Saint-Germain, but he's cost 32.5 million quid, and he'll no doubt get a plethora of bookings at the Etihad. On to Man United now. They've got Ralph Ragnick in charge, and they have made 3 signings in the January transfer window. They've already got one World Cup winner in Rafael Varane, and they've added another in Benjamin Pavard. 27 million quid from Bayern Munich, and he's made 2 appearances so far. I'm going to have a little look at Man United. They're leading the way in the Premier League. I want to see if Pavard's playing as a right back or a centre back. Are we going to be able to find out? We'll have to look at the schedule, I think. So his first start was against West Ham there on the 22nd of January, and he was at centre back alongside Rafa Varane. I mean, he can play right back, he can play centre back. He's just a great player, isn't he, Benjamin Pavard? And he's got wonderful, lovely head of hair on him. They've also got Evander from Midtjylland, which is strange, and Pedro de la Vega from Lanús, a player I know nothing about. 20-year-old Argentinian attacking midfielder. Maybe he's one for the future. On to Newcastle now, and that is where the money has been spent. Newcastle got a lot of money to spend, and my oh my, have they spent it. Alan from Everton, 51 million quid. Danilo from Juventus, 42.5 million. Lucas Moura from Tottenham, 41.5 million. Andre Kramer from Hoffenheim, 23 million. Jenny Dagenham from Getafe, 30 million quid. And Alfonso Pedraza from Villarreal, 18.75 million pounds. Every penny of the 200 million quid spent by Eddie Howe and Newcastle United. Is Eddie Howe still the manager? He is, and he has spent a huge amount of money. Alan, good signing in the middle of the park. They need a bit of a destroyer. And Jenny Dagenham at centre back. I mean, Newcastle centre backs are crap, and Jenny Dagenham is a much better signing than anything they've got. 30 million quid could be a bit of a bargain, to be honest with you. If Newcastle can sign any of those players in January, I'll be really happy. Let's move on to Norwich. Have they done any business? Stephen Kelly from Rangers, Ramon Enriquez from Malaga, and Levin Kurtzawa from Paris Saint-Germain. That's a naff signing. I'm sorry, he's not very good at football. The most expensive signing there, Ramon Enriquez from Malaga. He's a Spanish centre midfielder, just 20 years old. He's great at making decisions. His football abilities are okay. He hasn't made his Norwich debut yet, but again, he looks to be one for the future, which maybe isn't what Norwich need, considering they're in the middle of a relegation battle. Next up, we've got Southampton. What have they done? Well, they have signed Fred. Fred has been allowed to leave Man United. He's finally gone, and he's gone on loan to Southampton on deadline day. They also got Samuel Guijo from Spartak and Patrick Berg from Bodo Glimt. But I'm shocked by that. Fred allowed to leave Man United, and he's actually going to be leaving permanently. He's already agreed to join Southampton in the summer, and he's earning 60 grand a week at St Mary's. You know what it is? I hope he does a lot better at Southampton. He's just a mad little player, isn't he? Fred. Not the worst Brazilian called Fred, though, of course. That would be the striker who looked like he worked in a kebab shop. Next, it's Tottenham, and they've made a fair few signings as well. It's not really a surprise with Antonio Conte in charge, but the signings haven't actually been that big. Kaleta Sarr from Marseille, centre-back, good signing. Kaderbach from Hoffenheim. Matheus Uribe from Porto, 20 million quid. Colombian centre midfielder. One for the future here, Hanno Masengo from Bristol City. But no real major signing. A lot of the deals were done on deadline day. Tottenham were very busy on the final day of the window. I think the standout signing there is Kaleta Sarr. Is it Kaleta Sarr or Kaleta Carr? Either way, Croatian centre-back arrived from Marseille, 16.25 million quid, and he will be brought in to tighten up the Tottenham defence. Next, it's Watford. They were quiet in January. All they signed was Yasser Asprilla, who's no relation to Tino. Well, he's Colombian, maybe he is. He's probably not. Either way, he's only 18, and he's probably not going to feature for the Owls Hornets in the Premier League, already in the under-23 squad. And Watford, fair enough, they're doing enough without January signing, so they'll probably be okay. Next, it's West Ham. They're sitting 9th in the Premier League. They've only made 2 signings, and two players I don't know at all. Laurentiis Rossier from Estoril and Derlis Gonzalez from Olympia. A combined fee. I know they've also got Milis Velishkovic from Werder Bremen. But not a lot of money spent by the Hammers. That's despite their new Czech investment. They've only spent a combined fee of £4.5 million. I mean, I don't think they'll splash out in January, but they'll spend a bit more than that. And we move on to our final club, Wolves, who bought Matt Grimes from Swansea. He's a good little player, you know what, Matt Grimes, I quite like him. They've got Jesse Gironin from Brescia. I don't know him, but I do know Takumi Minamino, and he's arrived from Liverpool for £12.75 million. Given the number 24 shirt at Wolves, and hasn't gone too well so far. He's only made 2 appearances, and his average rating is 6.5. But it's early days. It's early days for Takumi. And to be honest, he can't do much worse than he did at Liverpool. But that's probably down to the fact he hasn't got a lot of minutes. Could be a good signing for Wolves. But what I'm going to do now is, those are your January transfers. I'm going to now simulate until the end of the season. I'm going to pick out a few of the signings from this simulation, see who's done well, see who hasn't, and see where the Premier League table lies. Let's do it. Right, here we are at the end of the season. The Premier League title has been won by Liverpool. They've pipped Man United to the title. They finished second with 84 points, one behind Liverpool. Going down, we've got Wolves, Crystal Palace and Norwich City. But we're not here to talk about that. I want to see how the January signings have done. And I'm going to go straight to Arsenal. And I want to see how Jesse Lingard has got on at the Emirates. Obviously, £6.25 million signing. And he was pretty good, you know. 4 goals, 2 assists in 12 Premier League appearances. So he's averaging a goal contribution every other game. That's good from Jesse Lingard, so well done him. Next, I want to have a little look at Riyad Mahrez, who is he's a Premier League winner once again with Liverpool. Obviously, he's done it before with Man City and Leicester. But how's he got on at Anfield? Just 7 appearances. Only 5 Premier League starts. But he's played quite a bit in the Cups as well. No goals, 3 assists, 3 Player of the Match awards. His average rating is 7.9. A great signing by Liverpool and a player who's got himself... Actually, will he have got another Premier League medal? Because he hasn't played enough in the Premier League for Liverpool. Or is it 5 you only need? I think it's just 5. So he'd be alright. He's got himself a medal. Now it's on to Newcastle. They really splashed the cash. Obviously, they've got Alan, Lucas Moura. Let's check the players out. See who has been the main man. Andrej Kramaric arriving in January. 7 goals in 14 appearances. He's been great. Lucas Moura, he's been great. 5 goals, 4 assists. The January signings have really started for Newcastle. Danilo there, 7.17 average rating. But the players who haven't, Alan not been great there, just 6.91. He's been okay, but I mean, considering he was the most expensive signing, not amazing. And Zenit Dagenham, not amazing either. But the worst of the lot was Alfonso Pradratha, 6.71 average rating. That's awful. Was there any other surprise signings? The last signing we're going to look at actually is Fred. Fred joining Southampton, who finished 8th there in the Premier League. Good season from the Saints. And how has Fred got on? Is he one of the best players? You know it is. He's been really good. Just 9 appearances in all competitions. Average rating 7.22, making him the 4th best player at Southampton. Even that includes Shane Long, who only played 1. So he's the 3rd best player. Let's check him out. Why did he play so little? 8 Premier League appearances, 7 of which were starts, and an average rating of 7.31. He's doing much better in a Southampton shirt than he ever did in a Man United jersey. So we will end this video as we applaud the man simply known as Fred. Well done, Fred. You're an absolute... I don't know what you are, but you're certainly something. But that is what Football Manager thinks is going to happen in the January transfer window. But let me know your predictions in the comments below. We are going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Elecspo. And until next time, we will see you around.